A lot of people think that creatine is just for the guys, for gym bros and bodybuilders trying to get huge, but that's completely wrong. If you want better sleep, sharper brain function, and stronger bones as you age, you should be supplementing with creatine every single day. I'm going to show you why this supplement is not just about muscle anymore. At its core, creatine's job is simple. It helps your muscles recycle energy. Your body runs on ATP. You burn that quickly when you're doing something intense like squats, sprints, or a tough interval. Creatine sits on your muscles as phosphocreatine, and when ATP runs out, it refills those tanks so that you can keep going. That's why when people take creatine, they can really notice the difference in those last few sets of a workout. And over a few weeks of training, that extra work builds into more strength, power, and endurance, more muscle. And that's all great for people looking to make huge gains in the gym, but what about us regular folks? How does creatine help us? One of the biggest reasons why creatine matters is the effect on fast twitch muscle fibers. These are the fibers that drive the explosive strength and power. Protecting them isn't just about athletic performance. It's about being able to get off the floor quickly, or carrying a heavy load of groceries into your house, or catching yourself if you accidentally trip. You want those muscles to fire. And losing this strength and power is one of the main reasons why we start to lose independence as adults. Older adults. So anything that helps preserve these muscle fibers is a big deal. So that's reason number one why just everyday folks need to take creatine. But it's not just about building muscle. Creatine helps to speed up recovery. If we're working out in the gym, normally your body needs around 3 to 5 minutes to restore the natural creatine levels after a heavy lift. Supplementation with creatine helps to cut that down, so you can get more work done in less amount of time. And if you're doing a lot of long runs, triathlons, some CrossFit style training, creatine shows a clear anti-inflammatory benefit as well. It seems to reduce stress markers that spike during endurance events, which means that you're less sore and you can bounce back more quickly. And for most people, that translates as to not feeling so wrecked after a tough workout day. So the next day you can get back at it. Quick pause before we get back into our creatine talk, because I have to share something that is just as important for my health and my family's health. We spend so much time focusing on what's going into our bodies that we never really look at what's going on to them. Our tap water, the water that we shower with every day that we're putting on our skin and our hair, is full of chemicals, heavy metals, and chlorine. That's what's known as hard water. See all these spots on the faucet and all that buildup? That's gross. And that's hard water. And it can strip away the natural oils in your hair and your skin and leave you with dry, itchy, irritated skin and dry, brittle, just dull hair. That's why we switched to the Athena filtered shower head. It's the #1 dermatologist recommended shower head because its patent pending filter removes up to 98% of harmful chemicals from your shower water. The filter works by trapping the bad stuff as soon as the water enters, so what you're left with is clean, clear water that is gentle for your skin and your hair. And here's the part I love. It installs in just a few minutes. No handyman, no husband, because I can do this all myself. Changing the filter takes around 2 minutes tops. So if you have been noticing that your skin is dull and that your hair is brittle, maybe it's time you checked out Athena. Go to athena.com/KetoFocus to get your Athena shower head today with a special discount. While creatine isn't a direct muscle builder like protein is, it does create a more favorable environment for growth. It provides muscle fiber recruitment, signaling, and recovery, and it may limit muscle tissue breakdown, particularly in men. Sorry, ladies. Creatine can still matter though, even when exercise is limited. In older and deconditioned adults, small studies show that creatine alone can nudge up basic muscle performance, but in the meaningful improvements of function, like sit to stand, getting out of a chair, that really bumps up when you pair it with any sort of resistance training. And if mobility is low, you just want to start tiny, like with some chair squats, some wall presses. Creatine just helps act as an amplifier for the work that you're able to do. So while creatine just helps to push you harder, protein is what builds what you're asking your body to do, the repair, the strength, the definition. And if you're ready to actually hit your protein goals without sacrificing on flavor and just living off of shakes, my new cookbook, Protein Packed, is going to give you the best high protein, low carb recipes out there. Many of these meals are fast, flavorful, they're weekday and family friendly. Plus I give you make ahead tips, swaps, and your macros are all fully calculated. And if you pre-order today, I'm going to send you a 4-week meal plan that is also fully macro calculated, so you could easily hit your protein goals of 100 grams of protein or more while keeping the carbs low of around 20 grams. Pre-orders are open, so grab your copy today. I'll have it linked down below, or just go to proteinpackedbook.com to learn more. But enough about muscle growth and recovery. Let's talk about other reasons why people are taking creatine every day and why you should too. There's growing interest in creatine for its role in bone health. On its own, creatine doesn't just magically increase bone density, but studies do suggest that there's a reduce in bone breakdown, especially when paired with weight-bearing exercises like squats or any sort of compound movement. Think of it more as slowing the bone loss side of the equation while training helps supplement the building side. That combination can make a real difference in preventing fractures as we age, and especially in women where we see a marked reduction in bone mass over our later years. Besides bone health, reason number 3 that you should be taking creatine is the brain. The brain is another area that researchers are paying attention to. When the body's under stress, like sleep deprivation, heavy training, or illness, the body's ability to make enough creatine to support the extra energy needs is greatly reduced. That's when supplementation with creatine might give your brain extra support. Sleep is where the recovery magic happens, and creatine seems to touch it from a few different angles. Your sleep drive builds as adenosine rises when ATP is used up throughout the day. Creatine helps recycle ATP, especially when your brain is working harder. That's why when people take it, they can feel mentally clear later in the evening and find that they sleep less without feeling wrecked the next day. Animal studies even suggest that this faster neuro-brain recovery could help reduce the amount of sleep needed after stress. What really excites researchers now is what creatine might be doing from the neck up. For years, the conversation around creatine was all about the muscle benefits, but the future of creatine research looks a lot into the brain health. The brain is unique because unlike muscle tissue, it doesn't absorb creatine freely from the bloodstream. It makes its own supply and then it guards it within the blood-brain barrier. For someone who is healthy and well rested and not under a lot of metabolic stress, that system works just fine. The brain produces its own small amount of creatine, usually just enough to cover the needs. But there is a catch. The brain is on the small side and it burns about 20% of our daily energy needs. And stress, poor sleep, if you're jet lagged, illness, even just simply aging, that demand starts to shoot up. And that's when creatine supplementation seems to shine. The clearest benefits of taking creatine for cognition shows up when the brain is actually under pressure. Studies have found improvements in memory, mental performance during times of sleep deprivation, hypoxia, or even conditions like long COVID that can cause brain fog and fatigue. In other words, the more stressed your brain is, the more that creatine can come to the rescue. That's why researchers believe that creatine can play a protective role in the brain as we age, since aging itself is a form of stress on the nervous system. So how much should you take and how often should you take creatine? The standard effective dose for the muscle benefits is around 5 grams of creatine monohydrate a day. However, there's studies that point to getting the benefits of the brain and bone health from around 10 grams a day. Or if you're sleep deprived or under a lot of physical or mental stress or you're sick, you could actually get benefits by bumping that up to 20 grams a day in the short term. For me personally, this is where I have noticed the most benefit of taking creatine. Within a few days of just taking it regularly, I found that I was way less tired in the morning and less groggy when waking up first thing. Normally, I have to wake up at 5 a.m. just because I got to get the kids off to school, and I like to hit that snooze button a few times. But with taking the creatine, I've noticed that I actually tend to wake up before my alarm goes off and I'm ready to go. I'm not tired at all. I feel well rested and just mentally alert already. When it comes to what type of creatine to take, you really don't need any like special blends or a special dosing. You just need to take it throughout the day. I would recommend picking up a third-party tested brand because there has been some talk about some of the creatine, especially the pills out there, actually don't contain the amounts of creatine that they say is in there. I'll have my favorite brand that we use listed down below. It is a powder form. I just mix it up a little slurry in water. It's tasteless. You can't even taste it at all. The main thing is that you don't want to have it along with caffeine because those two actually interact. They compete for each other, the same receptors. So don't mix it in with your morning coffee. And for people worried about water weight, because creatine can cause some bloating, splitting the doses into smaller servings just throughout the day, like morning and night, actually makes it a non-issue, the bloating part. Safety-wise, creatine has has one of the best records of any supplements. It's not a steroid, so it's not dangerous or unhealthy to the kidneys. The weight gain or the bloating that some people notice is just simply water being pulled into the muscles, which actually is what makes it perform better, your muscle perform better. That being said, if you have kidney disease or you're on certain types of medications that you just want to clear up first, I would recommend talking to your healthcare provider, especially since taking creatine can actually bump up some of your lab values when you have your labs done. So make sure that they know that you're taking creatine so they don't freak out when they see, I think it's the creatinine level that is elevated. We don't want them to freak out if they see that. I haven't been this excited about a supplement since I started taking my adaptogens to help with my cortisol issues. Mostly because I can definitely feel a difference when I take it and when I don't. This alongside a high protein diet is one of the best things that you can do for your health as you age. And if you want to learn more about a high protein diet, then just click right here because I got some great content for you.